So when we talk about their viability, though, I see them as a team that will not make it out of the first round because when you play in the playoffs, there's two things I think you got to do. No matter what round you're in, right? You got to protect the ball and you got to hit outside shots. And this team can't get two guys on the same night consistently hitting outside shots.
Just throw it into the ocean.
Yeah.
Well, I agree. I also think that, like, let's say they really just connect and everything lines up. I think if they win too many playoff games or if they go too far in the playoffs, I think it's bad for them. In basketball,
wait, hold on, wait, what?
Yeah,
It can be too soon.
yeah.
How so?
I'm gonna tell you, because in basketball, you have to. It's a sport where you really have to crawl before you walk. And if you look at a lot of the really good teams, they lost, and they might have lost consecutively in consecutive years, and then they were able to get over the hump. If you look at that Miami super team, that first year,
Right.
and everyone was like, oh, they won a chip. Like before the season started, they lost, but then they rattled off, you know.
So you're trying to tell me if the Heat didn't
Two
lose to
in
the
a row.
Mavericks that first year, then they wouldn't have beaten San Antonio the next?
I'm not
they
saying
needed
that. They didn't. They did need it. Now they could have won that series, but a lot of times in basketball, you learn to win from losing. Now, Tudo will tell you from him cheering for the Chicago Bulls when he was a kid. He will tell you.
You pulled that card pretty early in the show, by the way.
He will tell you that those Pistons teams taught the Bulls a lot, and by the time they got over the hump, nobody was stopping.
Okay. I get that. I always think there's something to be gained from losing and then coming back the next year. But you almost made it sound like if this team, say, got into the finals,
Eastern
right?
Conference Finals.
Why wouldn't losing in the Eastern Conference Finals
Help
propel
them?
them next year? Yeah. Why are you agreeing with him? This is
No,
not.
no,
the earth is
no.
not right.
I'm
When you're
agreeing
agreeing
with
with him, I'm getting worried.
I think it would be. I don't think it would be internal.
Uh-huh.
I think it would be bad external. I think that the
Like the moves, the
expectations.
corresponding
the
moves.
expectations and
are high.
everybody would be like, we gotta win now,
Yeah,
this and that,
they young.
and it's
Trust
not
the process.
time yet. Because like you said, the turnovers, the decision making,
Uh-huh.
you know,
Covington.
you know the fouls, you know, it's like they still have things they need to learn. Trusting the process means you gotta go through it to get to it.
It'll be too fast
it's
for the
almost like
process.
You guys are wait, hold on. You guys, I'm gonna let you guys are crazy because we're all talking about the Sixers in the offseason, maybe getting LeBron, right? Maybe getting Kawhi.
And
So the
Which-
expectations of
which-
winning are going to be there next year anyway.
process is
And you
over.
gotta
process will be
take your lumps this year so
To
that
get
if
'em.
you do get LeBron and the
Or Kawhi.
Kawhi,
My friend,
like,
the Sixers have been taking lumps for the biggest lumps you're
Well,
going to
but they
get.
haven't been taking them as a unit. Now they're together. Now they have Ben Simmons on the court. Now they have Embiid on the court. Markelle Fultz is redshirting. We know that. But they have the pieces that now can go on that journey.
You can see what they're missing to complete the process. You don't want to get that far,
Right.
and then I'm like, oh well, we don't need that to complete this. You know what I mean? Sometimes you
what's
gotta
gonna
take the
happen
L's.
is, what has to happen for the Sixers to get to the Eastern Conference Finals or even the NBA Finals, these role players have to step up. You know what you're going to get from Ben. You know what you're going to get from Embiid. But if they're getting to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals, that means Robert Covington is balling. That means Redick is balling, and we all know that they need to be.
Mike's like,
And now I'm supposed to interpret this as a bad thing?
No,
No,
but
it's
what I'm
not
saying,
bad.
but what's gonna happen is right
Basketball's
now
different.
we all know that they need to improve from Robert Covington. But if he balls out and helps them get to the finals, they're gonna have people saying, well maybe he's not that bad.
Right.
And we all know.
He don't like him.
Mike, I think you and I are ready to just walk out of here.
Now, I don't see the Sixers as a one and done team. If they get the right matchup, I can see them getting out of the first round.
I could see it. I can see it.
I
would
don't
predict
see.
it.
I don't see them going past the second round. Toronto and Cleveland are the two teams that scare me. Anybody else, I actually think they have a chance to beat.
Whoa. Time out.
You said
Toronto and who?
And Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Those are the only two teams that
That scare me.
Oh, we're just taking Boston and throwing them out the.
Boston.
Boston. That's all
If
right.
you've watched Boston
We
play
played them well.
I know, but they played everybody well, except for Miami.
But Boston has one real flaw. Their offense struggles to score against good teams. And that's because of their system. It's a 1-4 system. I don't want to get too much into X's
I
and
know what
O's,
you're getting at.
But
Yeah.
that's easy to game plan.
But
for
you
the
have
playoffs.
seen that the
one
Sixers
for it.
have very much struggled this year against teams that have excellent guards. They can defend the interior pretty well with Joel, but I mean, Dwayne Wade's like 80 years old and he just lit him up twice.
I think Mike's right though. Like the second season is totally different, and everybody in the Sixers uniform is going to be new to it.
Exactly.
And the game slows down. It's a lot of half court. The transition isn't as readily available, and they're going to have to run some sets. And like you said, they don't do too well running their sets. They
True.
turn the ball over. So what Toot is about to say, like, you don't want too much too soon.
Too soon, like
Now, I don't think that's something you
Can
have
we
to
think of a
worry
case
about.
in the
though.
NBA where this penalizes? I'm sorry, where a team won too much too soon and then completely with
I'm a-
young stars completely
Yes,
went
yeah,
backwards.
I got
I got-
the
Okay,
name.
please.
Denver with Mutombo. Remember?
I said two young stars.
they
Like
was
Orlando
no,
Magic.
no. Oh, two young stars.
95 Orlando Magic.
Orlando.
yeah, but then they
That
lost
was-
Penny and
that was
Penny
injury.
would get hurt and then
Right,
Shaq
right.
eventually
But-
left.
Minnesota with KG and Stephon Marbury.
Right.
Marbury was a
Toronto.
star. He was a head case.
Toronto.
How far did they get in the
Team
first
First
round?
round.
They got to the first round,
T-Mac.
lost to Houston.
Another one. Ray Allen and Big Dog, Milwaukee.
And they had
And
Sam
Sam
Bam.
How
Yeah.
far did they get that first?
They went to
year?
The first year
went
they,
to
they
the-
got out the first
They
round.
lost to the Sixers.
And
in
then they lost to the
second
Sixers in the
round.
second round. And I think they never went to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah,
It was
they-
Toronto when they went to the
Yeah,
Eastern Conference
we-
Finals.
we
But
The
they
young
had
teams
stars.
don't go that far in the NBA though. It's a grown man's game.
Right.
Which is why I'm not really
Kobe
worried
and
about
Shaq.
the Sixers having the problem that you suggested.
Kobe
way
and
too
Shaq.
much.
It took them a while to get there.
Different though. I mean, they're years in.
But I'm just
I
saying,
also
it took
think
them a
like this is
while.
how I know this is the Sixers second, but this is how the Eagles kind of messed it up because
The Eagles.
Always comes back to the Eagles.
no, but hear me out.
Because now
It's
we
like-
think every team that's
no,
ahead of
because
schedule
this
should
is
win
the
it all.
Sixers' money. This is their house money year. Wherever they go this year, you know, because they've been garbage for what 5 years now.
Yeah.
Wherever
Yeah,
they
a little
go this
longer.
year, this is we should be pleased with. But this was also supposed to be the Eagles' house money year, and they went out and won it all.
Well,
so now
football,
you got,
basketball different.
I know it's different, but
Right.
still,
Right.
expectations are expectations.
Let
They
me-
get out here
let me
and
get-
take a team. They go into games. They go into a game 6 or game 7 with whoever they play.
Right.
The whole discussion changes. Now you're talking about, hey, they can get to the next round. Hey, maybe they can beat Cleveland. Hey, maybe they can beat
They not beating
Toronto.
Cleveland in no 7-game series.
All right,
Of
let
course
me
not, but-
boil the vision down here.
You know,
Because
you
you're
can-
starting
you
to
can
sound like
convince yourself.
Kyrie Irving trying to convince people the world is flat. Right? Like, what would constitute making it too far? All right? Let's say the Sixers go to the second round and lose a 7-game
Well,
series.
look, I mean,
to
nobody
Toronto.
said-
Is that too
That's
far?
cool.
Well, nobody's gonna tell them to stop if they win a series. Like, hey, man,
That's what I'm
no,
talking about.
what
You
are
guys are
hey,
you guys are
hey.
like, oh man.
Like,
No, you taking it too literal, Jeff.
If they-
I think you're taking it too
yeah.
literal.
But if they do get to the Eastern Conference Finals,
That's good,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
great.
also
it's great.
like, damn,
But then it puts
more pressure on this
unnecessary pressure
young
on
team.
everybody, the team, the front office, which could be good because it was good for Harry Roseman, it was good for Jeffrey Lurie. You know, like those lost years with whatever his name is. Are we allowed to say his name?
That guy.
Okay,
Charles.
The,
Charles.
yeah,
We'll call him
the
Charles,
guy
right?
at UCLA.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, you mean Chip Kelly?
it helped. It helped. As nasty as it was, we can look back in hindsight and be like, huh.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
got
considered
that-
the tanking was the Chip Kelly of the Sixers franchise, right?
Well, check this out. A friend of mine said this the other day. He said the Eagles are the Golden State Warriors of the NFL, and I was like, you know what, that's not.
Because
It's
they
not a
didn't
bad thing.
intentionally tank. They just
Right.
got,
They got the
fortunate
pieces.
with some of their player
They
acquisitions.
drafted well.
Yeah,
They
they
moved
built
up.
the team.
Right.
With some pieces. People were like, hey, I want to come play for them. Like
Right.
KD.
I mean, I can see it now because the same way people were like, who was this Carson Wentz guy? Who was this guy out of what?
Out of
Division I?
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, out of
North
North
Dakota
Dakota State. Same. Like, who would have thought Steph Curry would have been Steph Curry coming out of
Davidson.
Davidson?
Yeah.
I did.
No.
Well, he
Mike
went to
Jones.
Davidson.
Just run my
He didn't go there.
I mean, I've got people witnesses telling you. 7 years ago, everybody's big on Kyrie. I was like, man, 4 years, Steph will be the best point guard in the league. It's style of play. And that's really what it all
And
came
he
down
got
to, was style of play.
drafted. He got drafted after Michael Flynn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
All right, here's how we end this thing, because we ended the way we started, right?
All right.
I'm just going to go around real quick. You just
Okay.
tell me how far you think the Sixers are going this year.
Second round.
They get into the second round and lose?
Losing 6 in second round.
I think they're losing 6 in the first, unfortunately.
45 wins. First round exit.
First round exit. I say first round exit.
I'm a first round. All the games will be played though.
7-game series,
Yeah,
first round.
first round.
So they lose at home.
Yeah.
Well, if they're the 4 seed.
Yeah,
If
they're the 4.
Or maybe
So I'm
on.
the only one saying second.
All right, well, here, you heard it. You heard it. The man said Steph Curry was going to be a star. Maybe he's prophetic about the Sixers.